Welcome, guys, to another DC comic book recap. And today we are going to do a recap for DC KO Nightfight number 1, which is written by Joshua Williamson and art by Dan Mora. And as you can see, I'm very excited to this one because this is the story of what happened to Batman after he got taken out of the main DC KO book. And I'm very hyped for this, mainly because I was hooked with the design that Dan Mora shared on his social media post, even on DC's social media, for the different Robins who take over as Batman. So the premise here is that Batman will be traveling to different realities, different dimensions, wherein one particular Robin or another or takes over and becomes Batman. So for issue one, it's safe to assume that this is going to be the story of meeting the Batman slash Nightwing character. So yeah, this is pretty exciting for me, and I'm hoping that you're also hyped for this one. So let's do this. Okay, so this story happens in Gotham, starts with Gotham, and it's pretty much just Batman talking about the mission, talking about uh, his current case, and as he runs around the rooftops and responding to, the bat signal. And then he realizes at the end of the last or the bottom panel that he's already too late because his kids, the Batman family, the former Robins are all there already to respond. So we're in this page. We're seeing Nightwing, we're seeing Red Hood, we're seeing Damon Wayne, and we're also seeing Tim Drake responding and doing different things with this scenario with a burning circus. For example, we're seeing Robin with the kids. Nightwing is assisting the officers. Uh, Red Hood is also taking out. I think that's Professor Pig, if I'm not mistaken. And then there's also Tim Drake coordinating with the police, doing his filing the reports. And we see that Batman is very proud, and he's actually really calling them his sons. And he says that there was a time when I was alone in Gotham, but that was a lifetime ago. Now my family patrols the streets with me, watching them work. It's impossible not to see myself in each of them, and it's a pretty nice page if you ask me. And then as we go through the next page, we're seeing all the interactions of the different Batman sons, Bat sons with Batman. For example, we're seeing that uh, Batman has pretty much classified Dick Grayson as the leader. Jason Todd is the rebel and the survivor. And Tim Drake has been the brains and the heart of all this. The Robins would have to be his own biological son, Damian. And then after that, they are going to respond to another case, this time with Mr. Freeze, and they're going to go to Gotham Zoo. And they all have. Dan Mora just illustrates a nice panel with all of them swinging outside, and Batman is just smiling and says, "Does Gotham still need me?" And then we also have the recap page for what's happened since the last time we saw Batman, and that was in DCKO number 1, outside of his current book. And then we're also seeing here what happened in the last book for KO number 1, where Joker manages to actually get the drop on Batman, and he kills him straight out dead. And as he, dissipates, he gets taken out of the game. Bruce reminds Clark to remember what he said. What he said though is not yet clear, so maybe we will be seeing that in the next issues. But it is imperative that Batman is dead. He's been taken out. But the good thing here is that, and this pretty much explains why we even have Night Fight, the limited series, is because there seems to be apocalypse technology coming from Batman, and it actually uses a boom tube. And when we see Batman next, it says that it worked. The Justice League was allowed to prepare to bring tools, weapons to help us in the tournament. I secretly brought Apocalyptian armor outfitted with a special boom tube that would teleport me back home if I became inactive for too long. And yeah, he gets boom tube, but he doesn't really know where he is. He thinks that he is in Gotham. However, it's not the Gotham that he knows, or what. It's not the Gotham that he's familiar with. And then when he's trying to contact Mr. Terrific, he gets attacked by, well, he gets a shuriken on the data pad that he has in his communication device, and it turns out that he's getting attacked by four Robins with different designs, and we kind of know who these guys are. And let me just give you the rundown. We're having the guy who says the OG is Duke. The signal is supposedly Terry McGinnis, and then the Robin at the back with the guns is Carrie Kelly from Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns book, and she did appear recently, or fairly recently, in the regular continuity, but I don't know, we haven't seen her yet. And then the last is Jean Paul Bally, aka Azrael, and it's pretty obvious with that big ass sword of his. And they're really going to take down the Batman, because it's the Batman that our Batman is the one they call the Batman who fell, and Bruce is really just shocked why this is happening, and he's able to escape, and he tells, and he does the narration that he knows what this is, he knows what's happening, they're trying to funnel him into somewhere, and he's just okay with that. He's gonna follow with the plan, and so he runs, and then he finally encounters Nightwing's version of Batman, and he says that he warned Bruce already that if he returns back to Gotham City, he's gonna be dead, he's gonna be in trouble, and Nightwing just goes on and on the attack, and Batman tries to tell him that what happened here, what happened to Gotham, what happened to the tournament, who defeated Darkseid, but no, but Gotham, or but Nightwing doesn't really know. What he does tell Bruce is that he did go into a Lazarus pit, which obviously makes you cray cray, and that was the end of the Batman that we know and love for this dimension anyway. And that's also the reason why Nightwing took over the role as Batman. I do like the design, the armor design that Dan Mora and DC gave for future Robin, for future Nightwing rather. And yeah, it's mostly, this issue is really just talk, but at the same time, we're treated to a lot of action sequences, action pages, and we also see what happens when you make Dick Grayson a Batman, and then you also make him a leader. And it turns out that in this particular dimension, this particular reality, he not only used his skills, but also used his people skills to make an effective way, and turning everybody who wants to be a Robin the chance to be a Robin. And he also uses the help of the different members of the Teen Titans to be able to do that. Like for example, we're seeing in the bottom panel Cyborg teaching these Robins in the Robin Academy how to use science and probably just detective work. We're seeing Starfire working with another class with acrobatics and with swinging. We're seeing Roy Harper teaching, and also I'm seeing at the bottom, the little part is Beast Boy, and they're doing training, target practice for these would-be Robins. And then even magic is taken care of with Professor Raven doing her own class with magic manipulation, because that's also kind of part of the deal when you're working as a vigilante. See, we're also seeing in this page that Robin has unmasked, he's removed his skull, and we've seen these little gray temples. Probably it's really just like to show readers that it's been a long time, and he's getting old already. So yeah, there's more talk in this page, and Batman says that he didn't want Nightwing to continue the burden. He wanted to have his own life, and then you created your own identity, and I wanted you to keep that, which is also the reason why our Batman doesn't want to pass the mantle as much as possible. But at the same time, Robin says that that's a lie. You didn't want us to take the burden from you because you refused to give up being Batman. Because you know that without it, you're nothing. Which also kind of makes sense. Even in, regardless of what reality, we know that Batman just doesn't want to give up being Batman. And so Batman replies that maybe that's true, but I have to ask, you've built all this and yet you still have Robins. Would you let any of them become Batman? And then, it also it also takes Nightwing Dick Grayson a little bit back because he doesn't know how to respond. This isn't right, Batman says, and if I need to find out why. This kind of irritates Robin, or sorry, this kind of irritates Nightwing, Batman, Dick Grayson, and so they fight again, which is also awesome for us because this is round two, and Batman does bring out his a couple of weapons. I mean, sorry, Dick Grayson Batman brings out his Kali sticks, his Arnis, and they fight. It's a long fight. At the same time, there's a lot of dialogue that's happening here, but also we're seeing how good Dick Grayson has become as a Batman, and how really well he's good at fighting. But at the same time, we're also seeing how good Batman still is, or our Bruce Wayne anyway. And so we get beaten up. Bruce gets beaten up when Nightwing tries to, talk to Bruce again, get him up, help him. It's revealed that Batman is just gonna continue fighting, and he says, "I think I know what's happening here, Dick. What happened with the tournament? What I have to do?" And then Dick is just asking, "Please, just stop fighting." But Batman says, "Just fight me, continue fighting." And then so they keep on doing it. They keep on beating each other. Yeah, Batman says, "Don't you remember?" Batman Nightwing, by the way. Batman Nightwing says, "Don't you remember? You let your fear of us replace you, to drive you insane long before you went into the Lazarus pit. You said there can only be one Batman. There can only be you. They're not here." And then we get the reveal that after dipping himself into the Lazarus pit, Bruce Wayne actually killed the other Robins. So we're talking, he's killed Tim, he's killed Damian, and he's killed Jason in this reality. It's only uh, Dick who stayed alive, who survived, and it's only Dick who's able to rebuild from all the chaos that the Batman who fell created in this all mess. But that's the end of the issue, and I'm looking forward to see more of the next issue. I want to see what happened. I want to see the Batman version of Red Hood. I want to see what happened there. What happened to Dick, Tim, and Damian in that reality. But I also wanted to see what happens with how this pans out, how this ends between the fight between the our Batman and Nightwing Batman. Anyway, guys, if you like more contents like this, please just like this video and subscribe to the channel. I'll be sure to make more content like this. So we're still trying to continue all the books that are related, tied up to DCKO. So yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.